Hello once again. I'm here to talk about a brand new anime series to come out with I May Be a Good Receptionist, but also any boss to clock out on time, the anime. Yep, it's another one of those shows where it has a super long title, explains what the show's all about, and you kind of got the gist of it, right? So, this is a show that just wrapped up officially as of today for the winter 2025 season and was spearheaded and released under CloverWork Studios. Which, if you heard of CloverWork Studios, I don't think there's an introduction for them at this point. They're known for coming up with some of the biggest, most well known anime series in recent memory that I think we can all agree is still being talked about to this day, good or bad. From Spy Family to Horimiya to The Promised Neverland to Bocchi the Rock. The list goes on and on and on. And given how big CloverWorks has been, their reputation and such, I went into the Guild Receptionist anime with some somewhat high hopes, thinking that it's going to be like a pretty good, pretty refreshing, maybe like a good, fun, bad, trashy anime. And with the synopsis being as generic as it is, the other reason I decided to go for this show was that the main character, Alina Clover, that's played in this show, was voiced by the famous Rei Takahashi. Which, if you know Rei Takahashi, if you know what this girl is known for, she's known for voicing some of the biggest names in anime today. From Megami from the Konosuba franchise, to Emilia from the ReZero franchise, the list goes on and on and on with her. If you look at what she has voiced act, because again, she is super well known. Ai Hoshino from Oshinoko, to say the least. Again, we could be here all day listing every voice acting credit that Rei Takahashi has under the sun. But make no mistake, she is super big and well known. So, with the Guild Receptionist anime, I went into the show with what I was hoping to be like a great smashing hit from Rei Takahashi herself. After all, she did prove to herself to be a force to be reckoned with soul wise when she did that Konosuba spin off back in 2023 with the Konosuba and Explosion of This Wonderful World, which was essentially a Megumin spin off of the Konosuba franchise that showcases Megumin's background, where she came from, where she started, how she would eventually be in the group trio in the Konosuba franchise we know today. And basically, in a nutshell, after watching the Guild Receptionist anime, it reminds me of this series a little bit, but now if it just was only Rei Takahashi herself and a ton of other background characters. Because believe it or not, this show is just unfortunately not pushing the weight, it's not pushing the envelope to what I want it to be. Because again, the premise of the show is pretty simple. We have a girl who essentially is blessed with pretty big powers, and her purpose in life is to simply clock out on time, not deal with overtime, and she wants to live the normal, simple life of just relaxing, not having to worry about any crazy nuisances. And basically, she just wants to be like a normal person. And a show of this caliber reminds me of a show that came out back in 2021, or exactly 4 years ago, with the I've Been Killing Slime for 300 Years and Maxed Out My Levels show, which when the show first came out, I wasn't crazy about. I didn't really think it was that entertaining, it wasn't funny, nor was it memorable. But the concept was definitely there. It was really interesting for its time period. And the fact that we're getting a second season, the show dropping next season of this year, is pretty mind boggling. But I digress. That this show had a pretty simple, pretty cool concept that at the time when it came out, I think that it had something going for it. However, in the case of the Guild Receptionist anime, I'm not seeing a whole lot of excitement or laughter that needs to be said because there are highlights of the show that for me are like standout moments that are worth taking away from these 12 episodes that have come and go, but I think it's just not pushing itself comedically, action wise. And the only thing that's holding the show and its weight together is that the animation's spot on, the music, the soundtrack for the show is really nice. It actually fits with the show to a degree. And I like how they switch it up from where one moment the show starts with the end credits theme song, and next show it starts with the actual theme song. I like that. It's great. And the animation is also really nice, crisp, and clean by CloverWorks as always. And once again, Takahashi Rei kills it with Alina Clover. But with all that being said, the story of the show, the progression of the show, does wane really really badly to the point where it just feels super forgettable, really mid, and just downright unrecognizable to an extent. And it's such a shame because again, the show did came out the gate swinging with something really cool, really amazing, really funny, but I wasn't super engaged with it half the time. 90% of the time, unless Takahashi Rei, the main character who voices Alina, was in the picture, I'll be engaged with it. The moment we get the other characters like Jade, Luli, or Lo in the mix, they're essentially just background filler. Hell, even the main one of the characters, Lily Ashford, in this show was super underwhelming because while she did have a really good dark backstory that was explained in this show, it wasn't really dived deep into it enough to where it ends up getting foreshadowed because the voice actor who voices this is has a squeaky high pitched voice that ends up being like a borderline annoying at times, which I get it. That's the concept of how the character build is, but they could have done a little bit better with what they were offered here. At least that's what I'm seeing. So with the Guild Receptionist anime, I'm a little on the fence with the show. I don't think it's terrible by any means, like all the other generic shows that came out earlier of this season, but it's definitely not punching its weight right now to being like a really good, fun, bad show. I just think it's average on best. It's just an average show that for me, if you are a Rei Takahashi fan and you love all the works that she has done over the years, then hey, this is basically for you. And again, that's the only thing I would say that's like the true highlight of this show. Outside of that, the show and the story, the premise, even up until the very end, it becomes really forgettable real fast, and you can tell that it wasn't even alluding itself for a second season, which I think was the right choice because, in my personal view, this show is just going to be forgettable in the years to come. And that's all I can say about it. So, with that being said, I would have to give this show like a decent five. It's fine for what it's going for, but it's not good enough to being like terrible or good enough to being like it's passable. It's just fine, and that's all I can say about the show. So yeah, um, that's all I wanted to talk about. I think I'll see y'all in tomorrow's next video since we're going back to back with these anime reviews. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Later.